It's time to fly the W. Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota and Bet365. Shota deals, the offense grinds, and Presley hangs on while we sweat and freeze at the same time. CHGO Cubs next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show podcast driven by Toyota, Let's Go Places, and Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use the code CHGO365 at sign up. Happy home opener to all the Cubs fans out there. We have opening day vibes after a 3-1 Cubs win, a nail-biter at Wrigley Field. And the Cubs have won 4 straight games. And you heard me right, Cody Delmendo. They are the first place Chicago Cubs. That's a nice way to start the weekend. Corey Freedman will hopefully be joining us a little bit later on in the show. And we've got lots to talk about. But what were the vibes like? Because this was the first Friday 120 for our Friday 120 club as well, Cody. What were the vibes like other than the fact that everybody looked frozen out there?
The vibes were good. It was a packed house at Wrigley. Excuse my voice. I did a lot of yelling today.
I can tell.
Yeah, it was just like what you expect for every home opener. We had a great time. Braggs somehow got down the stairs. Shout out to my Thai guy and his people, because we got in there kind of late and it's the home opener and it was kind of packed. We almost didn't have our regular spot. I know a lot of our crew ended up sitting in different spots, and that's not normally how it goes for Friday 120s. We're always usually, in the same area. But yeah, I mean, it was good to be back at Wrigley. It was good to be back in left field. It was good to be back in 504. It was good to see a lot of the familiar faces and stuff. And that's what Friday 120 Club's all about, is just the community that's out there. Right field sucks, but in left field, there's so many familiar faces coming up and saying hey to me and Braggs and the rest of us. And it was just good to be back. And then the Cubs won, and they didn't blow the game like we all felt like they were going to do in the 9th inning. And the offense found a way, and Shota Imanaga, he continues to at least set up any concerns I had going into the season. So outside of being cold, it was awesome. It wasn't even, it was cold, but I've experienced much colder at Wrigley.
But that's classic opening day weather at Wrigley Field. That's absolutely home opener weather most of the time. Now, I've been there for a couple times when it was 70, 55, 80, but this is what it's like most years early in April. By the way, we are on the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. If you're still on the old CHGO Sports YouTube channel, jump on over, please, and subscribe, because we're not going to be there much longer. Pretty soon, it's just going to be on the new channel that we launched last week. We've got lots of new subscribers, and we have lots of fresh content for you on the YouTube channel. So welcome to everybody that is just checking out the CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Corey is going to join us in just a couple of minutes, it sounds like. Let me tell you this. Before the game even got started, I had chills. 2 things. First, Rhino's voiceover about opening day. And I saw the commercial air twice before, and then they put it on the Jumbotron and they showed the broadcast of that. So I know you got to see it as well. And then him throwing out the first pitch. The 2 things had me in tears and chills. It had me the emotions, seeing him go out there and the rest of the Hall of Famers kind of step aside and give Rhino his moment. Awesome moment to start the season at home.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I missed the video. I have not watched it. But
it's great. It's great.
Sure
it's just him
awesome.
Talking about how a new season is different and nothing's guaranteed. And, he's talking about Nothing's guaranteed in life except for maybe the chills at this ballpark and the whisper of this and the zipping of the fastball. It was awesome. He did a great job voicing it over, and the Cubs did a great job putting it together as well.
Yeah. I mean, all the Hall of Famers throughout the first pitch today, which was, the crowd loved that, obviously. And, I've said this before, like a lot of those guys don't really resonate with me because I wasn't alive for the prime of their careers and the best moments of their careers, but they obviously are big parts of, Cubs fandom and the organization. And, whether I saw them or not, when you see those guys throughout the first pitch and you see those guys at the ballpark and the camera going to Billy Williams in the middle of the game and you hear the crowd erupt just for that, it's a very telling thing of like, these guys were incredible players for this organization. And, Rhino, his story at this point in his life, he continues to be an inspiration to so many. And I know he's going through cancer again and all this stuff. But I think the crowd is different when they see Ryan Sandberg. And I saw that at Cubs convention in January. And I felt like I saw a little bit of that again today, just with all of them together, all of them being there and present and on the mound. And they walk out there with the blue jackets. And they're special players for this historic organization.
We're going to have to start taking bets on John Vincent, which word he's going to hold the longest. Today it was free. And I don't know how long it lasted, but it had to be at least 25 seconds.
I had the over on 21.5. Yeah, I think he hit around 24. We don't talk about John Vincent enough. It's always free. It's always at the end. Whenever
I thought he did Brave sometimes.
Maybe it's Brave. I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm thinking Cornelison at a Hawks game holds Brave longer.
But like me and a few people in the bleachers, we like had our stopwatches start when he said free. And the bet was, or the line was 21.5. He got to I think around 24. So
I was gonna say it had to be close to 25 seconds. Anyways, it was awesome. The home opener is different than any game all season long, even if it is cold. A lot of people will say if there's one game they can go to outside of a playoff game, the one they want to go to is, of course, the home opener. And the Cubs delivered their fourth straight win. It was exciting right down to the finish. And let's face it, at this point, Shota may not be the mayor of Chicago yet, but he's the mayor of Wrigleyville. Like, that guy has owned Wrigley Field. And his stat in 17 starts at Wrigley, they have 14 wins. The Cubs have 14 wins in his 17 starts at Wrigley Field. And the stat I heard today, which I thought really kind of summed up his day in general, he's got 114 strikeouts, which he only had 4 today, but he only has 12 walks in those 17 starts at Wrigley Field. And this was a day where you cannot walk anybody. And Shota didn't. 0 walks. That was the key to his start. 0 walks. He wasn't dominating in that he was striking out 10 guys today, but this was his longest start in his Cubs career. 7 1/3, 91 pitches, and he gives up the 1 home run, which you'll take that home run to Martin Maldonado because the odds of that happening are slim and none. But he was, with the wind blowing in and cold weather, he let his defense do it. He had 6 of his first 7 fly balls. 1 was a homer. The others were obviously outs. He had great defense behind him, but he pitched to it. He didn't walk anybody. He challenged the hitters, and it was the right thing to do today. So I don't know if it's that he takes an energy from Wrigley Field. I don't know if he's just more comfortable on the mound. But I'll tell you this, 20 of the first 26 batters he faced, Cody, first pitch strike. And that's the way the Cubs have to do it. Just like I say in the game that they blew, you can't walk this many guys. The reason Shota's been successful, he still gives up home runs. The reason when he's successful, he doesn't walk guys. And when you keep those guys off the bases, good things happen.
Yeah, I mean, Shota 7 1/3 today.
Yeah.
And I found myself like, oh crap, it's the 6th inning and he has like 60 pitches. Like he was just kind of going through the motions and figuring it out. But you're right. Yeah, he didn't walk anyone. And man, I'll just be honest and say that, yeah, the weather conditions weren't great for hitting, but I don't feel like the wind was howling in at the most that I've ever seen. And you got a lineup with Fernando Tatis Jr., who coming into this game had like a 200 WRC plus, and then Manny Machado and Jackson Merrill, who just got that huge contract extension, and Jake Cronenworth, who's off to a good start this year, and whoever else that I'm missing. Oh, even Xander Bogaerts. Like that lineup, that Padres lineup is stacked full of dudes who have been there, done that, and have had a lot of success. And Shota just kind of goes out there and figures it out. Like I don't. It's not that I don't understand. It's more of like, maybe I just need to accept the fact that he is just better than I've ever expected. Even, he was better than what we expected last year, but maybe just overall, he just is. And I think a lot of fans rightfully had a good reason to expect regression just because he was so good last year. But back-to-back starts of 7+ innings, and he just did it against this Padres lineup, this Padres team that was, that hadn't lost a game. Like, it's just, I think you just got to tip your cap and appreciate what you're watching. I think the not walking guys is important for him, considering he will give up home runs, and of course Cubs legend Martin Maldonado hits a home run today. But whenever, there were guys on base, he just kind of figures it out, and he gets outs when he needs it. A defense helped him out. PCA had a nice catch early in the game at the wall. I don't think anyone really, other than that catch that PCA made at the wall when Shota was in the game, there wasn't a lot of hard outs to get, like in terms of, tough plays. He just figures it out and does it. And I haven't been able to look at, what pitches he threw most or whatever, but he just is someone that I'm starting to feel like, man, maybe we should just appreciate what we're watching, because I didn't, it's not that I didn't expect him to be good today, but back-to-back seven inning starts is impressive, and it's not really heard of in today's game. And so, and against the Padres lineup like that, it's just like, man, like he's awesome, and he embraces Chicago, and that makes fans like me and everyone else in this chat really, kind of adore him.
18 1/3 innings this year. He's allowed just 7 hits. Now that is a guy. We were wondering if we'd see regression. I can't believe there was a point where, if the story is true, that he had to actually go to the Cubs and say, "Hey, I want to play for you." Like, how lucky did they get on that one? How lucky are we to have Corey Freedman ready to join the show, by the way?
We're pretty lucky.
He's back from his I don't want to say this, but he's a season ticket holder. He's a big shot. He's got season tickets out there, and he's got a hot dog. I saw the hot dog picture, Corey. Very nice. I didn't know you went peppers on the dog.
Yeah, Brendan likes to give me grief. I'm not a tomato guy, but sometimes I throw them in there for the aesthetic,
But the way you just said that was very Chicago. I'm not a tomato guy, but yeah, I throw them in.
Over on Pulaski. I don't like the tomatoes.
I gotta say, credit to both Corey and me for being here, because I literally just saw him 45 minutes ago and was like, I got to get home because the show starts in 30 minutes.
We were just talking, Corey, about how great Shota was, and I was saying, listen, he didn't walk anybody. That's the big thing for him. He doesn't walk anybody right now, and when he doesn't walk somebody, it doesn't matter if he gives up the solo home run. And he always does a great job of changing the eye level of hitters and stuff, right? And sometimes the fastball is better than it is other days, but this was about understanding the weather, throwing the ball over the plate, and also letting your defense do the job, because PCA made a great catch in center. Happ made a catch up against the wall. You had Matt Shaw making great plays. His defense was good. The weather was good, and he was good. It's a winning combo every time he pitches there.
Yeah, I mean, Shota was great. Clearly not a great hitting environment today. But, I heard you and Cody talking before I hopped on, just seeing the way that he has started this season, kind of following his first campaign last year. Really exciting the way that he's started this. This is obviously a very difficult lineup And that was, not just Shota, obviously, a little dicey. I'm sure we'll talk about Presley at the end, but overall, that was my main takeaway from today was, weather aside or whatever, like seeing this team go up against a really good Padres team. Obviously, you can see it in their record. They were playing great coming into this series, and we knew they were going to be a favorite in the National League, despite being in the division with the Dodgers. And for the Cubs to win a low-scoring, close game that ultimately gets decided by who made less mistakes. And that's something we've harped on for a couple years now of Cubs too often in the last few years felt like the team that were making more of those mistakes than taking them. And today felt like the opposite. They were stealing outs. You mentioned the half catch, the PCA, keeping the ball in front of him, the infield defense. And that all started with Shota, keeping guys off the base paths, giving them a really strong start and setting them up for that. So it was, very successful, but cold opening day.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We're going to talk about Presley and the end of the game and all the other stuff that fell in between there in just a second. But Cody's going to tell us about one of our great sponsors, Bet365.
Yeah, Bet365 is live in Illinois, and whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up and use code CHGO365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. One of the great features right now is the MLB early payout offer. So perhaps, you bet the Cubs against the Athletics this week, and as we know, they blew them out in like 2 of the 3 games. Once they are up 5 runs, you automatically won the bet. So it's a really cool feature that they have going on right now. So they have that, and they have a bunch of other cool promos with other sports on the books right now. So definitely take advantage of that. And all you got to do to take advantage of that, again, is when you go to Bet365, new customers, now you get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose, when you sign up with the code CHGO365. Just deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. So even if you lose, you still get those $150 in bonus bets. All right. It can be done on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be assessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
I have a tough time tracking where my money goes, and I know I'm not alone. Those financial blind spots that are out there, all those deliveries coming to the door, online shopping, finances can be messy and confusing, and Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you all the visibility and control you need so you can stop earning and start growing. It's more than your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center for your accounts, your investments, and your goals. Don't just manage your money. Start building wealth with 50% off your first year for our listeners. I want to save some money for, kids' college, my retirement, all of those things. With your accounts, all of them, and your credit cards and investments in one place, you always know where your money stands without the hassle. Named Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use the code CHGO at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code CHGO. Cubs win, and we are ready for the much-awaited, highly anticipated. Are you ready for this, Corey? This is the beer bat chug.
Evil Wax in the chat said that I shouldn't read ads because my voice sounds like I just smoked a pack of cigarettes. So maybe the beer will help me after I drink this.
This is the Sam Adams American Light Beer Bat Chug.
Exactly.
By Cody Delmendo. Again, 10.25 seconds is what we consider a quality beer bat chug. Cody has been 3 for 3 on our shows doing a quality beer bat chug. We think it's strictly because the Sam Adams American Light is light and it's not filling him up early on. So I think that's been the key. So we'll see if it continues now from home.
Yeah. Today's dedication, I mean, obviously, I think it has to go to Shota Imanaga.
Yeah, it's got
right? They don't win the game without him today. The offense did just enough My no-run first inning bet did not cash because they walked a run in. Like there was, the other 2 runs they scored were, infield singles. Like it just Shota Imanaga won them the game. That's plain and simple. Martin Maldonado also. Like what are the odds? What are the odds that guy would hit a home run today? As whatever, man. So yeah, Shota Imanaga is he's the player of the game for me. So anyway, are we ready?
For those of you listening on podcast form, the clock starts when Cody actually has the beer hit his lips, and I will let you know when that happens. Here we go. Cody Delmendo, the Beer Bet Chug home opener, and he's underway. He's already started with the Sam Adams American Light. It's going down smoothly. It's going down quickly. It's going down fast, faster than I expected. And this might be his fastest one ever. He's going to get another. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, he slowed down a little bit. I've got 10.62. You guys see that? 10.62. Just missed a quality. Just missed a quality chug. Just missed it. 3 out of 4 is not bad. A lot of people were guessing 10.3. What apparently has happened is he had a couple of beer bet chugs at the game, potentially.
I did not.
It may have slowed him down a little bit when it came time for the post game.
I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy that I made it.
I feel like, just throw it in like, Cody didn't have his normal ramp up, the trip to Japan, the whole thing. So he, like the players, he's still.
I'm still adjusting.
Yeah.
It was too cold. It was just too cold out. The wind was blowing in, which was good for Shota. It didn't matter for Presley. That made me, are we officially going with Stressley or not yet? There's 2 ways to look at this, guys. Presley comes in, and the 9th inning was the first time the Padres had 2 guys on base all game. All game. It didn't happen until the 9th inning, and that's when they had 2 runners on. He gets out of it by freezing Cronenworth. If you want to take the negative, he's made you sweat for those 3 saves this year. He's absolutely made you sweat for those 3 saves. But he is 3 for 3 in save opportunities. He has eventually gotten the job done. And remember, this is a team that lost 28 one-run games last year. Yeah. And they tried to fix the bullpen. And so while it's not helping the ulcers we all have from watching Cubs baseball, it is helping the win total so far.
Well, so let's set the table here, right? He comes into the 9th, Machado grounds out, and I could feel it in the crowd. Like I think he got to a 3-2 count, I believe. It was a 10 pitch at bat, and it got to a 3-2 count, and Machado grounded out to Swanson. And after he made that out, I was like, okay. That was stressful because we all thought he was going to walk him once he got to 3-2, but he got the ground out to Dansby. But then he walks Xander Bogaerts on 6 pitches. That one went to a 3-2 count as well. And then Jackson Merrill hits one hard up the middle. PCA makes a great attempt at trying to catch it, doesn't catch it. Thank God he blocked it, or else that inning could have really gotten crazy. You got 2 on and 1 out, and then Gavin Sheets comes up and he grounds out, and Matt Shaw just makes an absolutely incredible play in my opinion in that moment, right? So you have 2 outs, 2 guys on, and then he strikes out Jake Cronenworth, and I think that one went to 3-2 as well. Yeah.
So with Jason Hayward on deck.
He took almost, I believe, all of them, all the batters he faced, they all got to a 3-2 count. And all I can say, my concern is that he threw like over 30 pitches in this inning. He got the save, but he threw over 30 pitches in this inning.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I should do personally here. Should I give the Padres hitters credit because he did have to go through the heart of the lineup? Or should I be stressed that Ryan Presley isn't getting any, he's not generating quicker at bats, right? And I think it's more so that. I'll give him credit for getting it done. And I will say that even though it took him a lot of pitches, I do feel like he threw competitive pitches. It's not like Hector Neris hanging something in the middle of the zone. But I'm not sitting here saying that I feel like super comfortable with him. I know I said a few days ago, whenever he got the save against the Athletics, it's like, okay, well, that I felt like that was a positive for him. That was a pretty easy save for him. This lineup's better.
Yeah,
the
definitely.
team is better. So, I find myself kind of indifferent. I think most fans feel like we need to put Hodge in the 9th inning, and I get that, and I'm not really disagreeing, but I am saying that he didn't blow the save either. So that's
Corey,
where
are you ready for that? Hodge, are you ready for Hodge? Because you're right, Cody. I was watching Twitter, and the Hodge comments were like, "Give me Hodge, give me Hodge, get him out of there." I wish this was Hodge.
I think it's still too early for that, but the leash is very short. And I think the thing for me that is the most I'm always hesitant to use the word concern when we're like barely into April, right? Like, but he is walking guys and he's not really getting any whiffs. And that's where I'm kind of looking and saying, like, okay, like he's gotten the results so far in terms of just getting the saves. And it's not like today, he wasn't getting banged around the ballpark. Like the one up the middle, PCA tried to get, a well hit ball, but like the single just out of like, Nico's reach. It's not like he was getting, like Neris at one point was getting blasted around the ballpark, for people making that comparison. But if you're going to be working 3-2 counts, you're not going to have your command, as he clearly didn't, have a great feel for it today, and you're not missing bats. It's just not, those two things are not a good recipe for success, especially in the closer. And we've talked about it so much. Like when you have a closer, and even, Adbert was this way. Like Adbert got more whiffs, but still not a guy that was generating whiffs at the level you want for like a lockdown, lights out closer. So I understand it though. Porter Hodge looked excellent in that game. And so I think this was always something that we anticipated. Like if Presley struggles or doesn't look great and Porter Hodge continues to develop the way that he did last year and the way that we're all hoping he does, which watching him in the 8th inning today certainly feels like that's where this is headed, you're going to get the calls for that. But at the same time, like I want to give Presley a little bit more room, like, and maybe we're afforded that because they haven't been losing these games. It's a tough thing. And we keep talking about it with this bullpen. Like it's going to be one of those tough calls for this coaching staff and this front office to want to give guys an opportunity, see what they have, let them kind of like get their legs under them for the season. We know veterans sometimes take a while, stuff like that. But at the same time, as you said, Luke, like we've watched this team derail seasons, miss the playoffs, not solely due to the bullpen, but when you can rack up almost 30 games where you say that one, it's tough to say how long that leash should be. The only thing I'll add, and I'll throw it back to you guys, is at least for now, I don't hate like Porter Hodge being the we need outs right now. I don't care what inning that is guy. And we've seen Craig Counsell do that. Like we all know Josh Hader wasn't always pitching in the 9th inning. And so this bullpen doesn't have a lot of options for that. Like this is our fireman. There is an emergency. We need 3 outs right now. And if Porter's going to be in that role and you kind of like figure out the 9th, we'll see. But let's put it this way, if Presley does not get the control and start getting whiffs, these calls are just going to get louder. And ultimately the decision will be pretty easy for Craig Counsell, I think.
Yeah. I will say that I don't think we'll be sitting here having this conversation in August. I think that they're going to pull the hook pretty quickly if this continues, because I just think it's so clear that he's not getting the whiffs that you need out of the guy in the 9th inning, while Porter Hodge is, while also just getting outs in general. I just think right now, given the situation of the bullpen, like it's kind of like they have no other choice other than to put Hodge in the 9th inning. I was telling someone in the bleachers today, it's like they need to get Luke Little back in there. And I think he can't come back. He can't come up until like the 11th. Someone in the chat will correct me on that. But they need to get him back in there. They need to get Brazier back into the bullpen as well. and they need, they need another young guy to emerge. They need a Daniel Palencia if he gets the opportunity to come up and do that. They need Nate Pearson to throw strikes. That is just the bottom line. And if you get that, and then they do eventually put Hodge in that 9th inning, then you can feel good about getting to him. I think if those things emerge, and the one thing about all of those that I mentioned is, Brazier has experience. He did it with the Dodgers, but Little also had kind of emerged before he got hurt last year. I know that's, a small sample, but this is what we're dealt with. These are the cards that we're dealt with. So to me, the line to success is for these types of things to happen. And if they don't, then we're just going to be really stressed all season with this stuff. And maybe they'll make maybe they'll make a trade, kind of like what Jed did with Tyson Miller and Jorge Lopez if things really fall apart. But I'm sitting here thanking God that they didn't blow the save, because Hector Neris would have blown the save.
They won the game. He's 3 for 3. The stats and the look of it, they haven't been style points. 3 innings, 6 hits, 2 walks, 2 runs. He's made us sweat, but he's 3 for 3. I don't think they're going with. I think the leash is a little bit longer than we might think it is, or that people might expect it to be. Corey, do you want to stick around, or your big Friday night plans here?
No, hey, I'm game. Cubs won on opening day. Let's go 3 hours.
Cubs win, and thanks to everybody in the live YouTube chat. We're going to talk about the offense here in a second, but we got to get back to our great sponsors. I want to tell you about Circus Sportsbook. Now, whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circus Sports Illinois. Circus Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circus Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. You can bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circus Sports has it all. Cody loves the no runs first inning. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. We got March Madness still this weekend. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 and older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to kickoff or first pitch or tip-off, whatever game you're going to, right? With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I always tell people that when I get off the red line at Addison, that's when I bring up Game Time, because like I just said, the longer you wait up until first pitch, that's when you get the most value. And I'm sure the prices for opening day at beautiful historic Wrigley Field were expensive yesterday, but were significantly cheaper today. So that is exactly what I did whenever I got off the train today and walked to Murphy's. I was paying attention to Game Time the entire time that I was there, which was like 3.5 hours. And I got my ticket cheaper before I went into the ballpark. So shout out to Game Time for helping me out. All right. Some of the other features that I really like, and I know Luke likes them as well, and Corey, obviously. Last minute deals, right? Like I said, 60% off buying last minute tickets for sports concerts and comedy theater and more. They have zone deals, so you save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. They all have all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. We all hate a bait and switch. Game Time is not that. And they have seat views as well, so you get a panoramic view from your seat. If you're not me, who likes to sit in just the bleachers, maybe you're like Corey and you like to sit in the grandstand, there's a pole in the way sometimes. So you got to look and see where you're sitting. Not where Corey sits, but, there are poles in the way for some people in certain seats, all right? You have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time credits you 110% of the difference. And they have Game Time ticket coverage as well. So your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Cubs
Does my
win
voice
3-1.
sound better as the show has gone on, or is it still?
I would agree with that. It's loosening up a little bit. Cubs win 3-1.
Cool.
They've won 4 straight. They are in first place, and they dominate home openers. I think that's their 4th straight win in a home opener at Wrigley Field.
It is.
Yep. Listen, they won this game, guys, with 3 hits. And by the way, thanks to everybody that's in the YouTube chat. If you haven't subscribed to the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel, do it quickly and switch on over if you're watching, because we're not going to be on the main channel forever. Pretty soon they're going to switch us over, and we've had great feedback from everybody so far. Cubs won this game with 3 hits, and I know this is going to sound simple, but here's how they won the game. The Cubs had 7 walks. The Padres had none. And when the weather's like it is now and the pitching's okay, that's the difference in the game. Yeah, defense was part of it, and situational hitting and all those different things. Shota was part of it. The Cubs walked 7 times. The Padres walked none. They won a game with just 3 hits. And before the game, I was watching the Marquee pregame show, and they were interviewing Kyle Tucker. And Tucker was talking to the Marquee folks, Cliff Floyd about and Cole Wright, about a text message that he sent in a group text to his teammates. They have a team text, and he sent it out, and it was the stats of how many times they had walked in that series against the A's. Just to remind guys that seeing lots of pitches is crucial in every game. Not being overly aggressive, too aggressive. In that A's series, they had 10 walks, they had 2 walks, they had 7 walks. He reminded his teammates of that, and you know what? Who had 2 walks in this game today? No hits, but he had 2 walks. Kyle Tucker. And
isn't he awesome?
It's something so
awesome.
simple. It's like a little league type mentality going into a game, but that's almost the way the Cubs have to play it, especially on cold days at Wrigley Field. If a pitcher is going to walk you and put you on base, you never know what's going to happen the more base runners you put on. You might have Machado boot a ball. You might have Seiya Suzuki beat the forced throw to second base. And by the way, Counsell after the game said he now thinks they have scored 6 runs this season after the team has beaten out a throw at second base. So it's hustle, it's patience, it's all the small things Corey was talking about at the beginning of the podcast. If the Cubs want to exceed projections this year, those are some of the things they need to do on a regular basis, and they did it in the home opener.
Yeah. Kyle Tucker is awesome, and I will be taking the extend Kyle Tucker sign to Wrigley Field every Friday home game the rest of the season if I have to. And if that means that we will potentially get a Kyle Tucker extension, then I will stand outside the marquee if I have to every day before I even go to work and do post game with you, Luke, right? Yeah, he got a great ovation beginning of the game when he first came up, and I think that he walks more than he strikes out, man. And then sometimes he hits homers, and sometimes he'll hit the ball the opposite field and for a double or just for a hit, and then he'll give you really good defense. He's awesome. And what you're telling me, because I did not see this this video, him talking to Marquee, that sounds like a form of leadership. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, for sure.
If it feels like a form of leadership, if that's,
and you got to listen to him. The guy has pelts on the wall.
Yeah.
And the young guys, everybody's got to listen to him, and leading by example, then going out and getting the 2 walks. Corey, Did you see, by the way, that Obvious Shirts took Cody's,
sign?
I don't want to say childlike sign that said extend Kyle Tucker.
I did.
And they've turned it into a possible shirt.
Good.
We have to give credit to Greg Braggs. Okay, he's the one who made the sign.
It was Braggs with the childlike writing.
But that's like such. I honestly sell the shirts. Like, let's go. Like, I thought it was hilarious. Let's go. There were a lot of people in the park that wanted a picture of the sign.
I was gonna ask Cody, like, I know you're a left field man, but like, I gotta tell you, no disrespect to Ian Happ or Pete Crow-Armstrong. But like,
wait a minute.
I would be. I'm not a bleacher man, but I would be moving over to right field just to be as close to Kyle Tucker as I possibly could be.
Listen, if if this is going to land a Kyle Tucker extension, if I have to go hang out in right field for a few games, like I'm willing to do it.
You'll make that sacrifice.
So I'll make the sacrifice. I know our good friend Brett Taylor was in right field today. Like I'll go hang out with him if he's here, like
when Bleacher Jeff makes the jump, then you know when my Ty guy and Bleacher Jeff make the jump to right field, then you know it's there. What if Sammy were to run out arm in arm with Kyle Tucker, American flags in each hand before a game?
You're going to give me a heart attack.
What would happen, Cody? You'd be like, what am I doing way over here in left field?
Luke, have you been reading my dream journal?
Seriously, like
where did you get that idea?
I thought that's only been in my dreams, man.
I just to add, like what you were talking about, Luke, like on Brendan and I show last night, we read the quote from Seiya talking about how, he's learned from Kyle Tucker already, kind of stay aggressive, don't get passive, even in good counts or when you're scuffling and stuff like that. And so to hear, the story you're saying about patience and stuff like that, it's one of those things where how good he is. You can look at all these stats when they make the trade or, if you're watching them in the playoffs and this is a great player. It's all, you can read it in these numbers, but watching it day to day is such an absolute pleasure. His at-bats are so professional and composed, and you just feel like every time you were talking about it, when we were talking about Presley, everything was a 3-2 count. Everything felt like a battle. It's Kyle Tucker every time. He's in a 3-2 count, either walking or hitting the ball hard if he's making it out or, doing work to put up what does he have now, an 1100 OPS or something like that? Just an absolute professional at the plate. And when you add in that power and stuff like that, what a wonderful kind of leader for everybody else on this offense to take a page out of. Don't give the pitchers an inch. Stay aggressive in your approach. Even if you're scuffling, don't expand your zone. Don't change your approach from who you are. Stick with it. Don't give the pitchers an inch, and those results are come. And it's amazing to have a guy like that where you feel like you didn't get the fireworks from him or whatever. He's still on base a couple times. He's still taking his walks. He's still scoring runs. He's still contributing out there. He stole a base. Like he's one of those guys always going to have an impact in the game. Just I feel like, when I'm tweeting about it or talking about it, I feel like am I going overboard? But then I'm watching him going like, nah, man, we haven't had a player like this in close to 10 years. I mean, prime Chris Bryant, at that level, and not that I forgot, but just watching it on a daily basis, you're just reminded like, man, there's guys that are just at a completely separate level from other players. Cubs have a lot of good players, but you watch Kyle Tucker's plate appearances and you're like, this is a different breed of hitter.
Yeah.
You have to bring that sign now to every Friday 120, don't you?
Yeah.
You have to hope that there are copycats from that. You hope that actually Avi Shirts does make the shirt and they start to sell it and have the bleachers. You have to guilt the Cubs into doing this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for, is that he has a season that is so spectacular and so great that they look at it and go, we can't let him walk away at any price, because if we do, everybody's going to know it was us.
That's how it should be.
Should be.
He is we talked about it last night. Like I want to enjoy the year we have and not like every time think like, oh, he's so great, they better extend him, but he's the perfect candidate, his age, how he should age as a player and a hitter, a guy that like this front office, everybody would love a guy that walks in some seasons more than they strike out. But like, when you look at like, what is the like platonic ideal of what a Jed Hoyer front office wants in a player, it's Kyle Tucker. They didn't go for Soto, the young generational star that they could lock up for 15 years or whatever it is.
That would have been
if they're not gonna do Tucker, I think we're gonna have to move on from thinking they're ever gonna extend or give a big contract like this, because he's the guy. But it's funny, Luke, you say like, what if he has such a big season? As I'm watching some of the things when he was in Oakland hitting the homers day after day and just like looking out of his mind, I turned to Kate, Cody, and I was like, he's gonna make $1 billion. Look at how he's hitting. Like he's gonna cost $1 billion. He's so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're right. It's a catch-22. The only way they might do it is they get guilted into doing it because he's so great, and everybody just falls in love with the guy. But it also is raising the price every time he does it. Everybody gets to see it. I see Craig has joined in on the chat. Did you notice this? He made it all the way back to Southern Indiana, and he's screaming for us to talk about the play by PCA in center field. If it's the one I'm thinking of late in the game where he dives to make the catch, I love the aggressiveness of going for it. It's such a dangerous play because if he misses it and it goes to the wall at least you're second and third, and you're an opportunity, the tying run's already at second base. He stopped it. The great part of the play is that he stopped the ball, not that he dove for it, because I think he could have just gotten his body in front of it and stopped the ball. The fact that he stopped it with his glove was absolutely critical. If you're going to take that risk, you got to somehow stop the ball. So that, like I said, it was it just added to the list of great plays. Cody's getting licked by a dog. It was such an exciting play.
I'm watching this dog right now, and she's been like bumping me for the last like 5 minutes. So you all get a chance to see her. This is Coco. Say hello.
Coco.
Hi, Coco.
Hi, Coco.
Anyway.
Coco, have a thought on the PCA play, or are we just...
I don't think so.
I to be honest with you, when the ball was in the air, I was like, is he going to catch this? Is he going to catch it?
Yeah.
No, because at this point, I just expect him to catch everything. I don't mind the aggressiveness. He's one of those guys. He's so good out there. I'm like, I trust him. Like he knows what he's doing. He'll get in front of it. 2 key plays by the younger guys late in this game. I mean, that Matt Shaw play on that high chopper, as you said, Cody, like I wasn't scrolling through social media, but it didn't feel like it was getting the run that I mean, that was a really difficult play that he made look really nice in a critical spot. And yeah, I mean, PCA stopping that ball, making the catch against the wall, Ian Happ's catch in left field. Like that's what we're talking about. Like taking those extra hits away from the other team, balls that have low probability to be turned into outs, and being the team that is taking them, and watching Dansby, Nico, PCA, like the other, Happ's a Gold Glover, Kyle Tucker's won a Gold Glove, but those guys in particular, feeling really good about the way this team is playing defense and the way that they're running the bases in terms of, we saw it today. It's not a high scoring game. They didn't get a lot of hits. They only scored those last 2 runs on, a fielder's choice on the infield and an error, a rare error by Manny Machado over there. But the key to making that all work is not giving the Padres an inch anywhere else. And they didn't. I mean, they were doing it all over the field, and, PCA is going to be that guy all season.
Yeah, we had hoped they were going to be a great defensive team last year. But when you go into this season and you look around, and we've mentioned it many times on the podcast, there's potentially 6 Gold Glovers out defensively behind it, right? The 3 outfielders have all done it, could all do it. PCA unquestionably could get his first Gold Glove this year. The other 2 guys have done it. You could see Dansby win a Gold Glove. You could see Nico's had some spectacular plays early this season. Michael Busch has done a great job over at first base. And I could see them having at least 4 Gold Glovers this season. And by the way, we all want that they hit lots of home runs and have great pitching and all those things. But there's nothing more frustrating in a long season than watching your team boot the ball around in the field and making base running blunders. So far, this Cubs team has not disappointed that way. They've been good at running the base, great at running the bases. They've been great defensively, and hopefully the other stuff stays on par with those 2 things. I wanted to ask you about the Justin Turner pinch hit. Did you like Turner pinch hitting? I mean, it ended up working out. Turner pinch hitting for Busch there.
So it's like the way I looked at it, it was a situational spot. And I think Justin Turner, I don't know where you would rank him in terms of best situational hitter on the team, but we all know he has plenty of experience. And unfortunately, a lot of the experience of him hitting in situationally well is against the Cubs. And listen, I think the negative side is if you put him at first base after that at bat, your defense probably isn't going to be as good. But it was a lefty. If Bush would have batted, it would have been lefty on lefty. I know a lot of fans think that Bush can hit okay left-handed. I still find myself thinking that the platoon with him and Bush is fine. Like, I'd rather Turner face the left-handed hitter. So I wasn't mad about it. It worked out. Obviously, it's not like it was anything special, but it worked out. And he didn't go up there chasing. The guys came off the bench and took pitches and then hit something hard and forced them to make a play. I think, was that the ground ball to Bogarts? He had to dive for it, and that's the one that Seiya beat out. So yeah, I didn't hate it. There were people in the bleachers who were pissed about it, and
but you know what?
Worked out.
Here's the deal. It's hindsight, obviously, watching it. You've got to put the ball in play there. And that's what happened. Like, yes, Seiya beat the throw to second base, but if he strikes out, it's a completely different situation. You have to put the ball in play there. And I'll ask people this: would you rather, in a critical situation, seasons on the line, and that's not the case today, but would you rather have Turner at the plate or would you rather have Bush in the plate? Man, the history of telling you that guy's been there and done that, I'm totally okay with that pinch hit.
Yeah. I've he did this in the Oakland series too, and I'm totally cool with it. I know, in the long run, for a younger guy and a guy that, you're still trying to figure out, like, is this our first baseman of the future? Like, where does he fit in the lineup and everything? I think long term, you do want Bush to get some of those opportunities. And, if he is going to develop into an everyday player, he's going to have to adjust in those situations and do that. But at the same time, kind of like Godfather in our YouTube chat is saying, like, Council's managing to win the game, man. Like, that's what you brought Justin Turner in to do. Like, he has been such a consistent hitter, even as he's hit age 40, was basically a split neutral guy, if I remembering correctly, last year, 115, 116 WRC plus, facing both lefties and righties. And he's going to give you a professional at bat. So, like, on a day like today, cold conditions, they make the pitching change, specifically to pitch to Michael Bush with a lefty. That's what you brought. That's what you brought Justin Turner in to do, and to give you a professional at bat and to hit left-handed pitching really well. So in a close game, like, where you really need that, I think that's what we're going to see. And Craig in our YouTube chat too, like, that's what you brought Craig Counsell in to do, is to make those decisions and to find those moments of finding that, playing that chess game with the other managers. So I understand some people want Bush to get those opportunities and be that guy. And I think, if every time they're bringing in a lefty, you're seeing that change, then I guess that's going to tell you something about the role that they envision for Michael Bush and stuff like that. But I think we'll see it in close games, big moments, guys on base, like, you really need a hit or a good AB right now. And I think they'll still have time to give Michael Bush the opportunity to show what he can do against left-handed pitching, if he can do it. Yeah.
I think the only reason some fans were kind of about it was, like, in the moment, the Padres had taken out Vasquez and brought in a lefty to specifically face Michael Bush. So then Craig Counsell's like, big brain, I'm going to Turner here now, because they were thinking that maybe they would hold on to Turner for later in the game. But Counsell, at least that's my thinking, right? I could be wrong on that, but whatever. They went to Turner and it was a big moment, and it worked out. Whether the ball gets through or not, you still put the ball in play, and I think you still technically get a base hit out of it. And that's the thing about Justin Turner that I do like, is that he's going to give you professional at bats, and he's going to put the ball in play. And Michael Bush, we've talked about it a ton. Like, he was K rate around 28% last year. So you're going lefty there. If you leave him in there, if he strikes out, then we're sitting here questioning, should you have brought in Turner in instead? If it works out, we're praising Craig Counsell. If it doesn't work out, then we're criticizing Craig Counsell. Like, that's just the role of the manager. in that particular moment, it made sense to go to Turner, in my opinion. The only thing that sucks with doing that in a way is that I just don't think Turner is as good defensively at first base as Bush. And you were still in the fourth or fifth inning. So you still had a lot of game left, but I can live with Turner at first base for 5 innings or 4 innings, whatever,
Plus runs were obviously at a premium. I was concerned after the first inning that they only got 1 run.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it was a nice inning. They saw a lot of pitches. I think they put 7 guys to the plate in the first inning, but I was thinking, boy, I hope they don't regret not scoring more there. So this was the same situation for me. I was like, boy, you just don't have that many opportunities. You had 3 hits all day. That's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like that's one of the few times they made contact all day. Ian Happ had 2 hits in the game, I think, but you weren't making a ton of hard contact out there. So I don't mind that. Just by the way, to make Braggs happy, which PCA play were you more excited about, or was the bigger play? The catch against the wall up against the ivy, or the play where he dives, stops, doesn't make the catch, but stops the ball in center field? I would say the last one was more critical because of when it happened, but the other play was great too. I mean, that's the first time he's seen that outfield wall without the ivy a little fluffy out there, right? Because he wasn't here in April. So that's the first time he's seen the bricks out there, and his first chance to really feel it.
I've heard Corey say this where, in the bleachers, you don't have the best view sometimes. That play, I did not see it. I had to watch the replay. So,
maybe if you were in the right field bleachers, you would have seen it.
I guess so. In this particular moment, yes, I would have actually seen it. But the ball was hit to center, or was hit to left center field, mostly left field. So, I mean, the same thing will happen if the ball's hit to right field. But I watched the replay. It's just, he's a human highlight reel, man. So much hobby bias.
I would say, obviously the keeping the ball in front of him, keeping it from going to the wall, it's a critical play in the game. But I think they had it up in the ballpark. I haven't checked it since I got home. I think it was like 68%, something like that, catch probability on the one that he bumped up against the wall.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that I'm enjoying the most from him. And they had that one in Oakland too, that, I think on social media, they had a really good behind the plate view. Just how much ground he covers to then be like, this one he had to bump into the wall, but he's like getting camped under it. But then you like look at the pulled back view and you're like, this guy came from across the field to make this catch, but he makes it look so easy. I'm thoroughly enjoying the way that they've played defense. So he's obviously frustrated at the plate, but he's impacting the game on a daily basis in other ways. And I think, similar to what we were talking about with the advice, that Say is maybe taking from Tucker and Tucker's giving to other guys, like stick with your approach, be patient. Like he doesn't look lost up there like we've seen him at times. It's just, it's not clicking right now, but he's impacting the game and hopefully is taking more from that than, the frustration at the plate. Cause I think that'll come.
I saw after the game, he called the crowd today electric. You guys would know, you were there. Was it compared to like other home openers, was it loud? At one point, it seemed like the Padres were even having trouble with the pitch comm because of it.
I mean, I don't remember the last home opener I went to where it was like, I don't remember the last home opener I went to, so I can't compare, but the beginning of the game, first inning, Shota's out there shoving it down their throats to get the first 3 outs of the game. Like, it was an electric atmosphere. Didn't matter. It really didn't matter how cold it was. The fans were fired up, and we say this all the time. It's different here. Like, it just really is, and that's what makes it special to go to Wrigley. So I felt that energy the entire game while I was there, and kind of took away the fact that it was freezing cold.
Corey?
I mean, it's always loud. It's hard to compare each of them. I think there's a little more excitement. I think like this team looks better, even just on paper, than past few years. So I think you can kind of feel that. Very loud for those early introductions when they were doing the lineups. And, had a couple moments even early in the game, 2-strike counts, things like that, bases loaded, or, the big spots where the crowd got up. So, yeah, I mean, cold, but felt like a really, really good environment, walking around after the game, everybody's high-fiving and stuff. Wrigleyville was alive today, 40 degrees or not. Wrigleyville was alive, and the Cubs met us there. So it was great.
Bobby Blanco in the chat on CHGO Cubs YouTube channel is asking, are you okay with the 2-strike bunt by PCA? Says he's fine with it. I'll give you a little background because you guys were at the ballpark. He was also on the marquee pregame, and they interviewed him, and they asked him about bunting. And he said he'd like to have at least, they said, with this weather, you think we might see a bunt? He actually said in the pregame show, he's like, yeah, we might. He's like, you got to show it. If you got to show it. And he's like, I'd like to have at least one bunt hit each week. And I guess Cole Wright's been calling for more than that to try and help, the batting average go up a little bit. But he admitted that he'd like to get at least one a week where he gets a bunt single. And in order to do that, you've got to show it and make people respect it too.
This particular instance that Bobby Blanco brought up, I believe the defensive alignment, there was like no one on the third base line.
He had one of those. Yeah, he had one. I think it was the A's or Diamondbacks where I said, man, he has the entire third base side. If he even gets it remotely down there, there's no way they could even, he might end up with a double out of it.
Right. So I didn't hate that he tried to bunt because it was lefty on lefty, I believe, as well. And I don't know about you guys, and I don't even know the stats off the top of my head, but his at-bats against lefties have given me concerns. I know him as a hitter in general gives a lot of people concern, but against lefties, it's tough. And so I didn't hate that he tried. It didn't help the Cubs in the moment, but in that situation, given the defensive alignment, given who he is, the sprint speed that he has, go for it, because I don't think the matchup he had pitcher batter wise was good. So let's just try and get on base and let someone else help. It didn't work out in this instance, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was fine with it. That point in the game, hopefully he's sticking with his approach and not pressing too much at the plate. But, I'm sure he's frustrated. It's not how he wanted to start things and stuff. I was fine with it. I mean, I was looking at the defensive alignment at times and thinking the same thing. I'm like, he could poke a ball here. So I didn't have a problem with it. Low scoring game, you're not feeling great at the plate. Try to get on. We know if he gets on, he's about to cause some chaos for them. So I didn't hate it. It's, it's one of those things, if you're going to do it, you got to get the bunt down. So got to get it down. So I don't have a problem with it, though. I think he's the type of guy that you kind of want sticking with his approach and maybe not focusing too much on doing that. But eventually when he's feeling comfortable at the plate and, really feeling good about his approach, you want him to be, part of his bag of tricks, right? I'm going to keep the defense on their toes, keep the pitcher on his toes. And maybe I'm going to lay down a bunt. Maybe I'm going to hit a dinger. You never know. So, I was fine with it.
Cubs won 4 straight. They're in first place. Our next Friday 120 club is coming up against Arizona again. So you get to see the Diamondbacks on the 18th. So that's the next time you can go to Game Time. Go ahead and buy your, ticket. Sit with Cody and everybody that's going to be out there. I'm hoping I'm going to try and go to that one on the 18th.
Really? Luke Stuckmeyer at an April game?
We have a post-game show that's remote. It makes no sense to drive all the way to Wrigley and drive back. Right. But Friday 120 Club, you meet at Murphy's. You have a good time. It sounds like for that Friday 120, it's been a lot of fun. The shirts are still there. I saw that we had Lance Brozdowski even threw one on for us.
Yeah.
He showed up. We had the Extend Kyle Tucker sign. The vibes were there. The Cubs are undefeated for the Friday 120 Club this season. Yeah. And again, they've won 4 in a row. Make sure, if you haven't subscribed to the new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel, do it, please. And give it a positive review. All the likes and things. We appreciate that. Thanks to Corey for jumping on for us. Thanks to Cody for fighting through without a voice.
One shout out. I met a dad and a son today. Came all the way to Wrigley from San Francisco. They listened to this show. And I forgot their names, and I feel terrible about it. But if they listened all the way through, I want them to have this moment because they were super excited to meet me and Braggs and everyone else. And the fact that they came all the way from San Francisco to not to meet me, but just to go see the Cubs is just another sign that we're just like everywhere. And
we'll call them Rhino and Ernie for today.
Sure.
That was their name. Rhino and Ernie, father, son. Cubs win 3-1. We'll be back with a live post-game show on Sunday as well after the Cubs hopefully sweep the Padres and keep this going. It is Boyd and Brown pitching for the Cubs the next 2 days. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. And don't forget, as always, fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.